What's up, guys? Welcome back to Horsepower Obsessed. Today we are going to talk about the C8 Corvette, specifically the E-Ray, and how it might be coming a lot sooner than you think. Alright guys, so we have talked about the E-Ray in the past. Obviously, we have talked about the Z06 a lot in the past as well. These two cars are a lot closer linked than you might think, and we might just be seeing one of the two very soon, but unfortunately, it's not going to be the Z06. Based on some of my readings online, I have found a lot of people talking about the fact that the Z06 has been delayed into 2023. Originally, I was thinking it was probably something with the pandemic causing shortages of parts, possibly some of these semiconductors that manufacturers are having trouble getting their hands on, but now I'm seeing it could be something completely different. Now, before we continue, guys, if you could be so kind as to go ahead and smash that thumbs up button, hit the subscribe button and the bell notification right beside it so you don't miss any future content about the C8 Corvette or cars in general, I would greatly appreciate it. My channel greatly appreciates it, and it will help YouTube circulate this video around to all the other auto enthusiasts out there, such as yourselves. Jumping back into it though, guys, the C8 Corvette E-Ray is likely to make an appearance in 2022. So originally, the Z06 was supposed to be a 2022 model, but something has pushed it back to a 2023. Now, I have been reading some things online talking about the fact that the E-Ray might make the appearance in this case, first, before the Z06. Now, this would be an entirely new first kind of thing for Corvette because typically the Z06 comes first and then the Grand Sport. Now, you guys are probably saying, well, we're not talking about the Grand Sport, Justin. We're talking about the E-Ray, and you're definitely right. But the E-Ray moniker has actually replaced the Grand Sport moniker, so it's basically the same thing. So a lot of people speculated that it would follow the same release pattern that GM has followed in the past. Typically, we get the Stingray, then the Z06, then the Grand Sport, and then ultimately a ZR1 if that particular generation gets one. Now, in this case, there is a lot of readings out there suggesting that we are actually going to get the E-Ray next. So it will obviously be the base model Stingray, then the E-Ray, and then the Z06 in 2023. Now, at first, this didn't make a lot of sense to me. I thought there's no chance that GM is going to actually give us the E-Ray before the Z06 and spoil that wide body approach to this car. But the more I see from GM, the more I read about this, the more it starts to make sense. Now, as you guys know, recently GM redesigned their logo to kind of mirror a little bit more of a EV or electric vehicle image to go along with the fact that they want to be all electric by the year 2035. But that's only part of it. GM also wants to have at least 30 electric vehicles by the year 2025. So we're talking 4 years from now, they want to have at least 30 vehicles that are electric. The E-Ray Corvette has not been talked about in a way that suggests it's going to be a full electric vehicle. It's likely to be a hybrid, so it's still going to maintain the 6.2 liter V8 that the base model Stingray gets, but it's also going to incorporate an extra hybrid motor driving the front wheels that adds extra power and, of course, extra miles per gallon to satisfy the EPA stuff.
Before we continue, I just wanted to mention the sponsor of today's video, and that is going to be Hyperion. This is a case that you can actually open up and put your key into, and it will block any RFID signals from being transmitted. What that means is it will block the connection between the key and your car, so nobody can steal the code from your key and steal your car. So with the key for the C8 out, we can go ahead and pop it right into this case here and put the top on. So even though this is in the car, it will not start because this is blocking all of the connection from the key to the car. So if we press the start button, it's going to pop up on the dash there and tell us there's no key found. I will put a link down in the description below, guys. If you are interested in any of this kind of security for yourself, be sure to check it out. And I'll even put a code down there for you guys to save some money on one.
Obviously, this is important because GM is talking about the fact that they want 30 cars by 2025. And even though the E-Ray is not likely to be fully electric, it could potentially still count towards their statistics, especially since it will be the first of a lot of things for the Corvette. It's going to be the first all-wheel drive setup. It's going to be the first Corvette with a hybrid setup, and it may even have the option of running completely on electric for at least a short period of time. I've read some information on a couple different places about this, and the one that stands out the most is, of course, the mid-engine Corvette forum.com. There was just recently a thread posted talking about the factors suggesting that the E-Ray could be introduced as the 2022 C8 Corvette model. Again, this isn't something I would even consider if it hadn't been for GM talking about the fact that they need these electric vehicles done by 2025. They want to go fully electric by 2035. And the fact that the C8 Corvette Z06 is likely to be delayed into 2023. Now all of a sudden, I'm not thinking it's a pandemic thing. I'm thinking it is more of a shift in the schedule for the C8 Corvette. I'm starting to believe that GM is thinking they're going to push the Z06 until 2023 while they introduce the brand new hybrid functionality of the 2022 C8 Corvette. Now, again, with the mid-engine Corvette forum.com, this particular post is kind of lengthy, so I will link it in the description down below, but I'll touch on some of the bigger topic points that really help point to the fact that the E-Ray is likely to be coming very soon. The big one here is GM wants to bring out as many electric and even partially hybrid electrics as soon as possible. If the Corvette comes out as a partial hybrid, some non-GM customers and auto industry bystanders would think, if GM's sports car is moving that way, maybe we should too. Point number 2. In the previous 2 generations of Corvettes, there was a new model in year number 2. Not so with the C8. How can the C8, the revolutionary new mid-engine Corvette, go into its 3rd model year without its 2nd different model? Now, one of the really great points in this particular article is talking about the fact that the 2022 E-Ray may not necessarily be a wide-bodied Corvette. A lot of the spy shots we've seen of what looks to be the E-Ray does not necessarily show a massively different looking body. Now, the reason that's important is because GM is not likely to bring out the E-Ray with this wide-body stance and quote-unquote spoil the 2023 Z06. So what GM could be doing here is releasing the E-Ray for the 2022 in the same body as the base model Stingray. The only difference would be, of course, that hybrid motor up front, possibly a little bit more horsepower bump because of the hybrid motor, and the ability to possibly run that car fully on electric power, at least for a short period of time. So at the end of the day, they don't really need a wider body car. They don't really need wider tires. The car is still going to maintain pretty close to the same amount of power that the base model Stingray has. There was, not too long ago, some topics talking about the fact that the E-Ray was going to have a front hybrid motor that produced less horsepower than the front hybrid motor of the ZR1 or Zora is rumored to get. If that's the case, then we are talking about a possibility of 50 or less horsepower addition to the E-Ray over this base model Stingray. Now, on the mid-engine Corvette forum thread, they go on to say that a few other valid factors we have discussed before that could suggest that the E-Ray is coming next, and this is a big one, is that GM is testing 2 models right now. 2 very different looking mules have been caught running around. One of them is very obviously a Z06, and the other one is very obviously an E-Ray. Why they would be testing those 2 side by side, I'm not 100% sure, unless, of course, they were either planning to release them both at the same time, which would be a terrible idea, or one of them's coming very soon and the other one is still being put through its paces. And with everything I've been reading, it is definitely suggesting the E-Ray's coming soon and the Z06 is coming a little later. Now, just like always, guys, these are just rumors. There is not any confirmation from GM about this or that either one of these cars even exist. So you want to take all this stuff with a grain of salt, guys. With that said, just a couple days ago, there was another spotting of the E-Ray out in the public. So again, it is totally camouflaged. It's totally wrapped up, so we can't tell what kind of car it is, but they continue to have some sort of plugs in the hoods and battery packs on the back. It really seems very likely that that is the E-Ray running around being tested. And again, if that's the case, it is very likely going to be our next car. Because of GM's recent big push towards electric vehicles, it makes 100% sense, at least in that aspect. But what do you think? Let me know down below if this is something you think GM would do just as an extra push for their electric vehicle status, or if you think this is totally wrong and the Z06 is definitely coming next. Let me know what you think down below. Like I said before, guys, I love to engage in conversation with you guys, especially when it comes to these rumors, because I am as excited as you are about the next variations of the C8 Corvette, and even if it's the Z06 or the E-Ray, either way, it's going to be pretty freaking awesome. So let me know what you think down below. But that is going to do it for today's video, guys. If you liked what you saw, please give me a big thumbs up. If you have any questions about the C8 Corvette, the E-Ray, the Z06, or any of the dates we're talking about, leave them in the comment section down below and I will make sure you get an answer. If you guys haven't subscribed yet, please do. I'm going to have loads of C8 Corvette content coming you are not going to want to miss. And as always, guys, I will catch you in the next upload.